Is it? Don't think so?
Think so. Yeah.
What's the difference?
The roles are different, I think. I mean, in the big picture of it, I think they share a lot of commonalities, but a mentor doesn't necessarily have to be a leader. You know what I mean? 'Cause I guess when I think of a mentor, I'm thinking in the terms of just the intimate time with someone. That when I think of leadership, I'm thinking of a big picture type thing.
Okay.
So that's why I guess I separate them.
Okay.
I think so too, because I see a mentor as a more intimate relationship than necessarily as a role model. Because you might see someone you've never met and you see them in, you're looking at the things that they have or the way that they carry themselves is something that you want to attain. A mentor is someone that has I would like to think someone has an intimate relationship with them that you can interact with more closely.
And I agree with both of them at the same time, but when you are a role model as well as a mentor, you also have to be a leader. Because you have to set those standards and those foundations in order to be that positive role model and a mentor to that person. Because that person is going to look towards you as a mentor to also be a leader to lead them in the right direction. And as a role model, you also have to understand that you're still leading because you're setting the role that the expectations that you're setting and trying to help that person to follow a path down. Which also allows you to become a leader to that individual, whether it's a kid, an adult, or a lost soul, which again could be an adult or a child.
Okay. Well, the thing is with all three, when you break it down to the bare necessities of it, the common thing that comes in is that all of them are about influence. Leadership at its bare necessities, at the bare bones of it, is about influence. Being a role model is about influence. Being a leader is about influence. Being a mentor is about influence. It's just about the different levels that you do those particular things on. So, because a role model is someone that's chosen, someone that you see out just anywhere. How many of you are old enough to, or mature enough to remember years ago when Charles Barkley had the commercial and there was controversy about I am not a role model?
Yeah.
And so, and the thing is that athletes, celebrities, they are basically role models, you know, to most of us, because we have no intimate connection with them. And that's what distinguishes the whole thing, is that a role model is somebody that you look at, someone you want to imitate, and you look at them and say, hey, she dresses nice, she looks nice, you know, she seems to be a nice person, it's somebody I want to imitate, which is where the little kids get it from. And remember the commercial, I want to be like Mike? Right. Nobody knew Mike. Nobody knew Mike, everybody wanted to be like Mike. And what does that even mean, to want to be like Mike? You know, to want to be like Charles Barkley, to imitate LeBron James, and the little kids wearing the jerseys and doing all these things. What does that mean? So these are their role models, but they're not their mentors because there's no intimate connection. And that's the difference. The biggest difference between a role model and a mentor is a mentor is someone that is chosen. In actuality, a mentor chooses to be your mentor or your role model, so to speak. Because you look at someone who's a mentor, it's somebody that you want to have a close relationship with. And basically, you want that mentor to be someone that has something that you're trying to get, or is somewhere where you're trying to get there. Because what's the purpose of getting a mentor or making that connection with someone and spending all this time with someone if they can't pour into you? You know, so you want it to be someone who has, that you're looking at what they're doing and say, you know what, there's something that she's doing that got her to this point, and I need to learn that because that's where I want to be. You know, and so you have to turn all that around and look at yourself. And because the reality is that you've got, whether it's little kids, you've got adults that are looking at you that are saying, she's doing something. How did she get to that point, to this point? She wasn't always there. Or I can remember when she was doing this or she was doing that, and you look at them now. And so you try to put yourself in their circle, so to speak, because now you're trying to get what it is they have. You know, so being that role model and that mentor and that leader. And the thing about a leader, again, it all comes down to leadership. We're all leaders. Everyone is a leader. Everyone is a role model. The thing is it a negative or a positive? Because believe it or not, everybody's watching. Everybody's watching. Whether it's little kids, whether it's adults, whether it's family members, wherever you go, someone is paying attention to what you do. How many times has someone come up to you and said something to you about, maybe if you were a person who's more mature in age, and like myself, and someone will come up to you and say, you know, when I was a kid, I used to watch you do this, this, and that. I'll give you a perfect example. I used to play basketball when I was younger, before my knees got mixed up. So still, I love it. That's my game. That's my first love. I always say that. So this young lady that I went to live in the same neighborhood, we were somewhere, and she was talking to me one day, and she said, you know, I can remember seeing you when you were young, how you used to run down the street, and you'd always have your basketball, and I'd be out in the yard playing, and I see you coming, and I tried to play harder, because I was trying to press her. Had no idea this kid even knew who I was or what was paying any attention, because I wasn't paying any attention to her. I never even knew she played basketball, to be honest with you. But the fact that she said that makes you realize that you're always being watched. Even as a kid, I was being watched by those that were following behind me. Because there's some people that just have a certain presence. You ever just been around somebody that walk in the room, you just like, Yeah. And especially nowadays, because we live in a society that's what? Everyone judges a book by its cover. You may open it up and it is just as empty as it could possibly be. And it takes some of us a little longer to realize that than it does others. You know, you're halfway through the book and you're still trying to figure out, well, what is this book about? You know? So, but the reality is that because we judge a book by its cover, we are living in a society where role models have become more important than mentors and true leaders. Because all we are doing is looking at what people have and looking at where we are, but not paying any attention to how they got there and the work they put in to do it. And I'm going to try not to jump around with these things in my mind. I don't have a little PowerPoint, but look, y'all got your little presentation with you. But again, let's say every day that we walk into the world, somebody is watching us. Someone is paying attention to what we do. Whether you're at work, whether you're at home, whether you're in a grocery store, whatever it is. And we have a responsibility in how we show up, you know. And when you get to a certain point in life, I think it becomes more pronounced as to who you are and what it is you're trying to do and what our responsibility is. So the thing is about this class is trying to get to a point where we realize that the earlier we start, yes, the easier it is, hopefully. Because like what Bishop was talking about, and not being able to live those authentic lives, you know, because of the dysfunction in the world and the dysfunction of us believing that how we live is wrong, or someone trying to tell us that is the case. So when you walk out into the world, or you walk into the grocery store, even when you're around your family, we have come to the point where we have conformed to make everyone else comfortable about who we are. And no one cares about us being comfortable about who we are. So you have same gender couples who are, yes, getting married now, being around their families, going to the family reunions and all these things. This is my cousin. This is my best friend. You know, you living with your aunt. You know, those kind of things. You know. So yeah, just so your play sister, or you moved in together for financial reasons. You know, all those kind of things. Not being willing to actually tell the truth, because not knowing how it's being accepted. My best friend is getting married Sunday, and what she has come to realize is that there's been some issues about how her family has accepted this step in her relationship. So what has happened is that it's come out that pretty much while they have tolerated her relationship, now that it's going to the next level, she's finding out that it's not accepted. And there is a difference. There is a difference. We walk around a lot of times because people tolerate what we do. We're thinking that we're accepted by them until you kiss your boo in front of somebody. And they're looking like, okay, you know. You know, or you walking in the mall or somewhere and you trying to hold hands and everybody's kind of looking at you. So even with the advancements that we have made in our own community, it's still a thing of there's a lot of toleration and not necessarily, we've got confused in thinking that we are not accepted, and that's not necessarily true. So, but back to role models, mentors, and leaders. People choose folks based on what they see. And so people can assume that because you drive a nice car, and that because it appears that you are successful in what it is that you're doing, that this is a person that's going to make a good role model or a good mentor for you. And that's not necessarily true. You know, you've got to learn, you've got to get to that person, you've got to be around them a little bit and get to know who they are and what they really stand for. Because you got a lot of folks, you know, with Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and all this kind of stuff, excuse me, we got a lot of people that are living that life that ain't living their life. You know what I mean? So you got a lot of folks, and then people get your Facebook personality sometimes confused, or they want that to be who you are. So because you see someone that's always posting positive stuff, and then you get around them and they're having a bad day, ooh, you know, all of a sudden, she ain't who she says she is. She, you know, because I was around her and she was cussing or she was drinking or whatever the case may be. Well, sweet, I'm not going to post my entire life on Facebook. You know, what you may see, and you know, the biggest misconception is that people assume that everything you post on Facebook is about your life. I thought that was a deep quote. I just put it up there. Made my mama good. How many of you have posted something that was just something deep that kind of hit you or resonated? Might have been about somebody else in your life or around you. You put it up there and all of a sudden your inbox boom, or you start getting texts. You all right?